Greetings everyone, Tavi Ginario here and welcome to EliteGuitarist.com. I have the great pleasure today to teach you how to play Natalia by Lauro. Natalia is also known by the designation Vals number 3, Vals Venezolano number 3. And it is one of the most well-known compositions of Lauro. Lauro wrote a lot of music that was folkloric, music that borrowed a lot of elements from the Venezuelan folkloric landscape. And Natalia is no different. At times, the waltz feels like a typical Austrian waltz that you may be familiar with, something like a Johann Strauss waltz. At other times, this waltz feels like a 2/4 or 4/4 meter because of the syncopations contained in it. I think you have to make a decision from the get-go as to how you would play this piece. Over the years, as I've played this piece, my interpretation and my approach to it has changed quite a bit. In the beginning, I treated this as an instrumental piece, and so I allowed myself some latitude when it comes to the rhythm of this piece. Over the years, I've been listening to a lot more South American music, and the rhythm is actually fairly consistent. And I have morphed my interpretation of this piece to be more rhythmic, to be a little bit straighter. I think it conveys more accurately the feel of a Venezuelan piece. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the meat of this piece and learn how to play Natalia by Lauro. Welcome to this first segment of the tutorial. And for this first part of the tutorial, we're going to take bars 1 through bar 8. What we'll see is that bars 9 through 16 are an identical repeat to bars number 1 through 8. And so let's just focus on bars number 1 through 8 and then we'll move on to the next section. This piece is written either in 3/4 or 6/8 meter. In order to feel the tempo a little bit more accurately, I would suggest you treat this piece as a 3/4 rather than a 6/8. The metronome speed would be too fast, and I think having a little bit of space between that metronomical beat helps with the groove of the piece. So let's begin with bar number 1. The first two notes are pull-offs. This is a legato, C to B, and C is played with the first finger on the second string first fret and open string B. What I also do with my right hand, I rest my A finger on the first string so as to avoid any slips. Sometimes I'm overly zealous and overly excited at the beginning of this piece, and my effort to have a very hefty pull-off there, I tend to hit that string as well. So instead of playing something like this and have that ghostly note, high E string, I rest my A finger on the string. And you may want to practice this pull-off. You don't have to have a lot of motion outward. Treat it more as a downward movement and think of this finger actually playing a note as a rest stroke and resting on the first string, the adjacent string. So rhythmic wise, you have C to B, pull off, then A sharp played with the third finger on the third string, third fret, open second string, and then again a pull off from C to B. Rhythmic wise would be something like this. Again, 1, 1. Okay, so. And then that last B note, open string, affords us the time to actually move and shift positions to the 7th position of the guitar. And then I'm going to play an E and G simultaneously. Open 6th string E, and then with the second finger I'm playing a G note on the 2nd string, 8th fret. So when you practice this piece, try not to do too much. Take this time to maybe even pause the video and get that shift really accurately and very cleanly. And you may need to do it even slower than that. There's nothing wrong with playing it slow. In fact, in order to instill very good muscle memory and default settings, practicing it slowly and just focusing on one shift at a time could be very, very helpful. It's grinding and it could be really mentally exhausting, but you would save a lot of time in the future rather than just rushing through the pieces and never really feeling secure on these shifts. So let's look at bar number 2. We have E and G, and then a pull off to F sharp. F sharp played on the 2nd string with the 1st finger, 7th fret, and then open 1st string. So G, F sharp, E, and then I have a B harmonic. That harmonic is played at the 12th fret on the 2nd string, and I use my 3rd finger usually, and rather than placing the callus or the tip of the finger on the harmonic, it gets kind of a brighter sound because of the harshness or the toughness of the callus. I place my 3rd finger relatively flat and use the soft portion of my finger to play that harmonic. So bar number 2. And then G, open string, and E, open string. Now, just a little story here. When I was maybe 15 or 16 years old, I heard the sound of the classical guitar played for me for the first time in person. And it was this piece, and I remember distinctly that harmonic. And it is the definitive piece for me, and that which actually inspired me to pick up the classical guitar. I don't know, when you have a first encounter with something that's really exciting and really transformative, and for me, listening to these first 2 bars of Natalia by Lauro was that memorable, transformative, kind of course-changing event. And so I remember my friend, who his name is Rares. He was a student at the University of Trossingen in Germany. He came home for the summer and he showed me this piece that he had learned. And as soon as I heard that harmonic, I was hooked. And there was no going back for me. And I just fell in love with the classical guitar within these first 2 bars. So the piece is relatively special to me. Okay, so enough personal stories. Let's get back to work. So bars number 1 and 2. If you were to count it, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, bar number 3 begins with a G sharp, played with the 2nd finger on the 6th string, 4th fret, and then D with the 1st finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, pull off to the open B string. So then I'm playing an F natural with the 4th finger on the 2nd string, 6th fret, together with the 4th open D string, pull off to D, played with the 1st finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. So, and then open B, 2nd string. So bar number 3 goes like this. Then we're moving on to bar number 4. C and B together. C played with the 2nd finger on the 5th string, 3rd fret. B played with the 4th finger on the 3rd string, 4th fret. I use my 4th finger. You could also use the 3rd finger. Whatever works. Careful with that pull off. just very small motion. So C and B, pull off to A, play with the first finger on the third string, and open E string. So, and that open string buys you time to again make a very big shift. And this shift is all the way to position number 9, where the finger hovers over the 9th fret. So C and B together. Then A played with the second finger on the second string, 10th fret. And high E note played with the fourth finger on the first string at the 12th fret. Then F sharp. F sharp is played with the third finger on the third string, 11th fret. So, and then I'm playing a C note with the first finger on the first string, 8th fret, and that is bar number 5. So we're picking this up at bar number 5, and we're having that C note played with the first finger on the first string, 8th fret. So coming into bar number 5 from bar number 4, and now bar 5. And then I'm forming a partial bar chord, and the first finger presses 5 out of the 6 strings on the 9th fret, and I'm playing a C note on the 4th string, 10th fret, and then an E note on the 3rd string, 9th fret, pressed by the partial bar chord. And then F sharp on the 5th string, already pressed by the partial bar chord. So F sharp, back to C, 4th string, and E, 3rd string. Bar number 5, C, E, F sharp, C, E. Now, as you make these shifts, try to make them very smoothly rather than not too short, but try to connect them as much as you can. Imagine that you have this relay race where one finger passes on the baton to another finger, and so as the baton is being passed, there has to be continuity, and so both fingers kind of hold on to that baton before one finger lets go of the baton. So that's just a little mental picture to help you. And now, bar number 6, we're moving to the 7th fret. And we have B, D sharp, and B. B is played on the 6th string, 7th fret, D sharp on the 3rd string, 8th fret, and then high B pressed by this bar chord, full bar chord on the 1st string. So we're plucking 6th, 3rd, and 1st. And now I'm going to shift my bar chord all the way to the 5th fret, and I'm starting with the 3rd string, 6th string, C, A, high A. Then I'm moving to the 6th position, A sharp played with the first finger on the 6th string, 6th fret, A sharp played with the 3rd finger on the 4th string, and that is at 8th fret. And then we have a G natural. So A sharp, G. Then I'm still going to shift one more, and I'm going to start with the 4th string this time, A, B, F sharp. A is played on the 4th string, 7th fret, B played on the 6th string, 7th fret, and F sharp played on the 2nd string, 7th fret. And then I'm going to resolve this on bar number 8. E, G, E, open strings, and then a pull off from C. So it's C played with the 3rd finger on the 5th string, 3rd fret, pull off to B, pull off to A, sharp, and then back to B with the 1st finger. Rhythmically it would sound like this: 1 and 2. Bar number 8, 1 and 2. Okay, So let's review, starting with bar number 5. Bar number 6. And just a couple of interpretive things that are really crucial in this piece. This section is highly syncopated, and if you look in your sheet music, you'll notice that there are some notes that have an upward stem, the stem facing upward. That is your melody note, and I would suggest that starting with bar number 6, you put an accent on the highest notes of each and every one of those chords. In this situation, you'd have B, D, accent on high B, accent on high A, bar number 7, accent on G, accent on F sharp, and accent on E. Now, here's the difference, and listen to how big of a difference these accents make. Here is playing the piece without any accents, and then I'll play it with the accents so that you get an idea of the impact of those accents. There's nothing wrong with that, but listen to the piece played with some accents. It has a very different impact. And that is, of course, exaggerating it, but you may want to do that in order to instill really good rhythm and highlight those syncopations. So, again, with the accents. Also, when we get to bar number 8 and we're doing these pull-offs, rather than keeping the finger straight, what I do with my first finger, I place it slightly off, almost mimicking a bar chord. Somehow that releases some tensions from fingers number 3 and 2, and also allows me to mute that 4th string so that I don't touch that during my pull-offs. Okay, so that is section number 1. I'm gonna see you back for section number 2, starting at bar 17. As I said, bars number 9 through bar number 16 are an identical repeat to the first 8 bars.